Okay, good afternoon and welcome to our community-wide lunchtime update for Thursday, July 30th. With our board decision on Monday night to delay the school start date from August 18th to August 20th, and with the decision for all students to join virtually for the first 3 weeks, I know that you probably have some questions and comments related to that, and so we want to try to answer some of those questions for you today. Also, just know that in the chat portion, if you're on Zoom, or I'm sorry, the question and answer portion on Zoom, we will have staff looking at those and trying to respond as we go through this, but we will definitely follow up with an FAQ related to your questions and concerns following this meeting. So to start off with, the Texas Education Agency allows for school districts to begin in remote and only instruction during the start of school transition period. So that's something that came out about a week and a half ago. This period can occur up through the first 4 weeks of the school year, and then we have the option as a district with school board approval to extend that for an additional 4 weeks of school if that's due to a local public health situation. So during the transition period, school districts can limit access to on-campus instruction to facilitate a safe, effective return to on-campus instruction for students, teachers, and staff. So with our board's vote on Monday night, we're going to take a portion of the transition period to begin school for all learners virtually. Our face-to-face learners will then be transitioned back to campus on specific days starting the week of September the 8th through the 11th. And then everyone will be face-to-face following that on September 14th. That would be everyone that has selected the face-to-face option, then would all be face-to-face on September 14th. So in the event of a local public health situation, the district would reevaluate the transitional and the virtual only schedule as we get closer to that. So in a few moments, I'm going to share with you some of the resources that will be coming your way next week from your campus principals regarding face-to-face operations. But first, I want to share with you today why our principals believe a week of transition for face-to-face learners is necessary, and then also provide an example of what this transitional period could look like at the secondary and elementary levels during the week of September 8th through 11th. So I'm fortunate today to be joined by Heritage High School Principal, Ms. Krista Tipton, and we have LaRue Miller Elementary Principal, Shannon West. And so they're going to give you a glimpse into what that might look like, what that transition period might look like from an elementary and a secondary level. So please remember what they're talking about is the time frames from September 8th to September 11th. So if your child, if you as a parent have selected for face-to-face learning, then basically for the first 2 weeks and 2 days, so basically 12 days, you will be virtual. And then that week of the 8th, we begin transitioning you back onto the campus. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. West first to kind of talk about what that might look like at an elementary level. And then I'll allow Ms. Tipton to address secondary. So Ms. West.
Thanks, Dr. Ledbetter. Good afternoon. I am Shannon West, principal of Miller Elementary. First of all, please know that we cannot wait to have your kids back on campus with us, but we also want to make sure that our students and our staff are safe. So for elementary transition week, we will bring our students back by an alpha split with specific schedules that will be shared soon. This process will allow teachers to explicitly teach and our students to explicitly practice our new safety protocols in a small group setting. We will practice arrival, dismissal, recess, specials, lunch procedures, along with a myriad of other things. This time will also allow teachers to begin building relationships with students, start working on class procedures and expectations, and provide some insight to what students can look forward to this year. Bringing them back in small groups will help us to do this more effectively. We are thrilled to get started. Ms. Tipton?
Good afternoon. My name is Krista Tipton, and I am principal of Heritage High School, and I will echo what Mrs. West said. We are so excited to be talking about having kids back on campus and can't wait to see your students. I'm very excited to have the opportunity on September 8th through the 11th to have designated groups of students on campus. We were not able to have our normal high school and middle school student orientations where we would normally go over many things to help students to be successful. And this year, we not only have all of those normal back to school items, but of course, all of the new health and safety protocols that we're going to need to teach our students and staff. So on September 8th through the 11th, we anticipate having about half of our students by alpha split come on campus each of those transition days. to be able to transition into that new environment in smaller groups. On those days, we plan to run buses before and after school, serve breakfast and lunch, and tassel, and also have students progress through their normal 7-period day. We will focus our attention on teaching the health and safety protocols and acclimating our students to the new details of the school environment under our new current situation. We also plan to use that time to deliver ID badges, go over safety procedures like lockdown protocols, sell parking passes, go over the dress code, all the typical things that we may normally have done during those student orientation times, and really focusing on the safety processes. Classroom teachers will use those 4 days to build relationships with their new students, discuss any specific requirements or recommendations for their class, and also teach and practice the health and safety protocols for their rooms in small groups. We believe that these 4 days will be critical for our students and teachers to learn and practice all of those new school and classroom guidelines so that everyone will be more confident to know what to expect on September the 14th, when we will have all of our face-to-face learners present with us. So again, we're very excited to be able to see all of our students soon.
Okay, thank
turn it
you.
back. Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Tipton. Thank you, Ms. West. Just a few other items. This week, your campus principals have been working on finalizing their campus operational plans. And as you heard Ms. Tipton and Ms. West address, so they will be talking about arrival, how we will handle the arrival process as far as staggered times, that type of thing, classroom operations. We're going to be looking at transition periods, how we move students in and out of the building or between classes, lunches, how we conduct those and still maintain social distancing. We'll be looking at recess, restrooms, dismissal, and many other components to the operations of our facilities. Additionally, the principals are actually this morning, they were out on campuses filming informational videos for parents. And so hopefully that will provide you some insight into the day-to-day life of a virtual student as well as a face-to-face learner. So we're trying to give you as much information as possible to give you a glimpse or kind of give you a picture of what the day will look like regardless of which environment you choose. So, and then early next week, you're going to receive a follow-up email from your campus principal that will include this campus operational plan that I'm discussing, as well as the videos. And then you'll also receive a copy of the district health and safety summary plan, which was adopted by our board on Monday night. So we want you to get these early next week. We want you to have a few days to review the resources. And then your final commitment of whether or not you're going to choose face-to-face or virtual, it will be due August 10th by 10 a.m. So hopefully we'll get this information will give you a better understanding of what the day will look like, what our campuses will look like. And then please note that we need those final commitments due August 10th at 10 a.m. If you want to change your child's method of learning, you may contact your child's campus with that request. So if you've already been through the process of InfoSnap and registration and you get this information and you want to make a change to that, please contact your campus. If you do not wish to change your choice, you don't need to do anything at this point. You wouldn't need to do anything further if you've already registered. So we hope the resources you receive next week from your principal will provide the information necessary to make an informed decision as we move forward. So when we released the opening of school, we received some questions. And I want to take just a few minutes to address those. I know when the board approved it Monday night, I made the decision to go ahead and start virtually for 2 to 3 weeks. We received questions related to the face-to-face hybrid model discussion. So what that was, would it be allowing our face-to-face students at the high school level some days on campus and then some days learning virtual? So just so you know, that conversation came up, and I think we might have mentioned it on one community update, but our task force looked at that, as well as we had multiple conversations with our high school principals. It was actually introduced on July 17th as an option for school districts by TEA. So in lieu of the 5-day-a-week face-to-face, we could offer a 2 or 3-day face-to-face option at our high schools. So the principals began reviewing the opportunities and challenges of that model. We were in the process, as you can imagine, of finalizing many other decision points at the same time. So we met with the task force on that Wednesday morning, and then throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week, our principals and district administration, we debated it. We continued to meet to discuss whether or not we wanted to go with a hybrid model or a face-to-face option for our high schools. And so just to tell you, through a lot of deliberation, we found that there were some great challenges that really were not in the best interest of many of our students to move forward with the hybrid approach. It kind of goes back to many of these decisions. I think we could debate the need for it, and many reasons not to do it. And so we had to make a final decision. There was a lot of concern with our face-to-face students only being on campus 2 days. So I know many of you have chosen the face-to-face option because we were basically required to offer 5 days a week, and that's the way we promoted it. We felt like it would be going against what we had promoted and what you were expecting as parents, to then only have them come to campus 2 days a week. And so another concern dealt with, we have many of our courses, whether they're career and technology courses, some of our fine arts courses, athletics, where a student would actually have to attend school face-to-face even on their virtual day. So that we might have been in a hybrid approach. And so we felt like there would be a concern there for access for students who did not have transportation on those days, who were not required to be there, but they would be required for certain courses to be there face-to-face based on their schedule. And so transportation was an issue with that. And so we just felt like with what was going on that we really wanted to move forward with just the 5 days a week traditional school setting for those that opted for that and not go with the hybrid approach. Another question that we've had is, we conducted the survey back in the summer about parents, whether or not you would opt for the face-to-face or virtual, depending on what was offered. And I will just, there's been questions about if we weren't going to listen to our parents, because we made it very clear that about 70% of our parents selected face-to-face. Then why are we moving forward with virtual? What that survey was about was really for us for planning purposes and really about staffing. We could not move forward with our master scheduling. As you can imagine scheduling 10,000 students, and at the secondary level, 7 classes apiece. We kind of have to have an idea, just an approximate number of how many students would be moving forward with face-to-face and how many would be opting for virtual. And then we also had to look at training staff for virtual versus face-to-face, or a combination of the two, and how we would manage that. So that really doesn't have any play into the fact that we needed the 2 to 3 weeks here really to make the transition and to put all of our safety protocols into place, because for the remainder of the year, we will have face-to-face instruction for all of our students that select that option. So it wasn't really a survey to determine how we start the year. It was a survey to determine how we're going to need to serve our kids throughout the entire year. Another question came up about if I elected virtual learning for my student during the transition week, and I decide I want to change them to face-to-face, can I do that? And if so, what is the process? Well, I would just say that really your best approach is to contact the campus principal on that request. So we're gonna work through processes for making the instructional method change at your request at the end of a grading period. So really, we will allow it at the end of a grading period. So just know that that's really, once you make this decision, whether if you're at the elementary level 9 weeks, at the secondary level 6 weeks, then you can opt into that moving either between virtual or face-to-face. So the basic answer to that is you can change at the end of a grading period. I also want to point out that the September 8th through 11th transition week is really designed just for those who have selected face-to-face learning as their method of learning. So it will not impact virtual learning students. So if you make that choice, then you will not be coming to the campus during that time. So I know there's probably a lot of other questions out there. I did have a couple of questions that came in about the 6th grade transition. So if you have a child that's a 5th grader going into 6th grade and they are needing to trade out their iPad for their laptop, then that is being done through our technology department. Once you've completed registration, you have to go through InfoSnap and complete that registration, then you'll receive communication about that process, and that's strictly being handled through our technology department, and you'll receive information on that. And then also, there was a question about meeting teachers, I believe, on the Facebook Live component for our elementary kids, and so we are planning some virtual type opportunities for our students to actually meet their teacher prior to us beginning our virtual learning opportunity. So you're going to continue to receive more information. You'll receive more contact from your principals next week with their operational plans, and some of those questions will be detailed out in there. And then next week, during our community update, our Department of Learning is going to join us and to talk exactly about what that 3-week virtual learning experience will look like from August 20th really through September the 13th, I guess is that Sunday prior to starting on the 14th. So we will be talking about what the virtual learning experience will look like for all students next Thursday during the community update. So like I said at the beginning of this, we will continue to follow up with an FAQ on I'm certain there's many questions that have come in, and we will address those and get those out to you. And that completes our session for today. I hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day, and thank you very much for joining us.